Disclaimer: I'm not a medical professional, so do not use this information in place of professional medical advice. I'm speaking from my personal experience, research I've done, and advice I've received from my healthcare providers for myself. Talk to your doctors for medical recommendations best suited for you. Content warnings. I will be discussing and depicting aspects of menstruation, menstrual hygiene products, anatomy, anatomical terms, pregnancy, medication, bleeding, and brief mentions of weight, malnutrition, dietary restrictions, and sex. Part 1. Anatomy and menstruation. The menstrual cycle, often called being on your period, is the body's preparation for carrying a pregnancy. The cycle can start during puberty, generally around the ages of 12 to 14, but it can also happen earlier or later, and it can sometimes be estimated by what age your biological family's period started. Not everyone may get a period because of medications they have took or are taking, hormonal imbalances, those with hysterectomies or no uteruses, going through menopause, when periods stop, and variations of sexual organs, like intersex and transfeminine people. Specific things like birth control, being sick, exercising too much, malnutrition, stress, and sudden weight changes can also cause irregular periods. The menstrual cycle is broken into 4 phases, starting first with your period, but we will loop back to the details on that later. The second stage, follicle growth, happens in the 2 ovaries here. These both hold a large number of microscopic eggs in pockets called follicles. While your period is happening, these follicles are stimulated to grow to create a mature egg. After your period is over, the lining of your uterus, called the endometrium, becomes thick, spongy, and nutrient-rich again, preparing to hold a pregnancy. The third stage is ovulation, where the most mature egg exits from the ruptured follicle, gets swept up by the fimbriae, and travels for several days through the fallopian tubes to the uterus. Once in the uterus, the egg will wait for a sperm cell to potentially fertilize it for 24 hours before dissolving. Ovulation will happen 14 days before your period. In the fourth stage, the luteal phase, the empty follicle the mature egg left sends hormonal signals to the endometrium to prepare for a fertilized egg. If the egg isn't fertilized and a pregnancy doesn't happen, your body releases hormones that break down the endometrium. Now, we're back at menstruation. The uterus contracts to break down and shed the endometrium, which now flows out through the vagina, which makes a period. Periods can happen monthly between 21 to 35 days apart. That number can vary monthly. These periods can last 2 to 7 days, while shedding between 1 to 6 tablespoons of fluid each time. The menstrual fluid can be thin or clumpy and can be colors like dark red, brown, or pink. Right before and during a period, many people experience premenstrual syndrome, PMS for short. Not everyone experiences PMS or all PMS symptoms or experience the same symptoms with each of their periods. Physical symptoms can be increased cravings or appetite, tender or swollen breasts, feeling bloated, slight weight gain, headaches, dizziness, swollen hands or feet, joint and muscle pain, lethargy, acne, upset stomach, nausea, diarrhea, and cramping. These cramps can start before your period and last for a few days, the pain being worst on your heaviest bleeding days. Cramps are painful but common, though some people may have severe cramps that make it difficult to function. Sometimes severe cramps can be a sign of pelvic inflammatory disease, endometriosis, adenomyosis, or uterine fibroids. Emotional symptoms of PMS can be sadness, depression, anxiety, mood swings, irritability, sudden crying, feeling antisocial, trouble concentrating, trouble sleeping, and changes in libido. Irregular periods are common and usually aren't any reason for concern. Things like missing your period coming early or late, PMS symptoms changing, heavier or lighter bleeding than normal, bleeding longer than usual, and unpredictable timing are examples of what could happen. Sometimes this is just how your body may naturally work, but sometimes it can be a sign of a health problem. Because of this, it can be helpful to track your symptoms if you'd like to talk to your provider about your options or to be prepared for your next cycle. Personally, I cannot recommend Planned Parenthood's free app Spot On enough, available on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store, especially considering its very neutral look and lack of gendered language. You can track your bleeding, symptoms, and birth control methods all in one place and estimate when your next cycle will be after using it for a few months. If you notice these things regarding your period, it can be important to contact a healthcare provider. You've missed a period after having unprotected sex. Your period is extremely heavy, making you bleed through or change period products every hour. Your period is unusually long and lasts over 7 days. You're lightheaded, dizzy, and your pulse is racing. You're 16 and you still haven't had a period. You have extreme pain before or during your period. You have sudden, unusual bleeding between your periods. You suddenly feel sick or get a fever when using a tampon. Periods suddenly stop or become irregular. Your period is more often than every 21 days or less often than every 45 days. You become extremely anxious or depressed around your period. Part 2. Period products. Menstrual hygiene products are meant for absorbing or containing menstrual fluids to prevent leaking through and staining your clothes and surroundings, helping you to feel more comfortable while on your period. Some of these products are worn outside of the body to collect blood as it comes out, while some are worn inside of the body, collecting blood before it leaves. It's common to use many different ways of protection during your period as your flow changes or for certain activities you're doing. First, we have pads, sometimes called sanitary napkins. These are usually synthetic materials, cotton, or foams that have adhesive to stick into your underwear and absorb any menstrual fluids. They can come in various shapes and absorbencies, sometimes with wings on the side to wrap around your underwear as extra grip to keep it from shifting, and smaller versions like underwear liners that are good for light bleeding or narrow underwear. Pads like these are for single use and should be wrapped in toilet paper and thrown away once it is soaked, or you are ready to change it, not flushed down a toilet, as it will damage pipes. There are also fabric reusable pads that are comfortable, colorful, environmentally friendly, and a money-saving option, as these can last for years. These typically will have wings that will snap around under your underwear and hold onto each other to stay in place. To clean, you can pre-rinse and soak it in cold water, then hand or machine wash it in cold water. Be sure to check each pad's cleaning instructions and warranty to see what is the best way to take care of it so it can last. Pads can be difficult to wear in underwear like boxers and boy shorts, so it can be important to find ways to work around this for some. You can wear more pad-compatible underwear under boxers, potentially, to hold the pad in place. You can also try wearing briefs with pads instead. If you're crafty, you can sew a strip of fabric for a pad to wrap around in your underwear. Regardless of what pad you use and how you wear it, be sure to change it when it becomes too damp or every 6 hours or so, depending on your flow, to prevent rashes, urinary tract infections, and yeast infections. Second, we have tampons. These are tightly compressed cotton or rayon cylinders with strings at the end that are inserted into the vagina that expand and absorb blood before it comes out. Tampons can come with a plastic or cardboard applicator or no applicator at all. Inserting a tampon can take a few tries to get used to, but it isn't always the best option for everyone. Before inserting a tampon, make sure your hands are clean and you are in a comfortable and relaxed position that can be squatting, putting one leg on the toilet, sitting on the toilet with your legs apart, or standing. Using an applicator, you will insert it inside of you, then push the plunger in all the way, then pull it out, leaving the strings outside of your body for later removal. If you're using a tampon without an applicator, push the tampon in with your finger, leaving the strings out. Always make sure to throw the applicators or wrappers away in the trash, not the toilet. You can remove your tampon at any point, but it's best to wait until it is wet from absorbing menstrual fluids, or 4 to 8 hours. Do not wear the same tampon for longer than 8 hours or wear one while not on your period. Be sure to change it before then by gently tugging the string and wrapping it in toilet paper to throw away, not flush. Wearing a tampon for too long can put you at risk of toxic shock syndrome, a rare but serious illness. If you experience vomiting, high fever, diarrhea, muscle aches, sore throat, dizziness, faintness, weakness, or sunburn-like rash, immediately remove the tampon and contact a doctor as soon as possible. You can prevent TSS by changing your tampon every 4 to 8 hours and using the lowest absorbency needed. Some tampons and pads will have scented options, which can sound compelling since period fluids can smell unpleasant, but this isn't always the best option. The ingredients in scented products can affect the natural pH balance of your body. This can affect your body's ability to self-clean and harm the good bacteria living in it, causing a yeast infection. For similar reasons, using scented soaps, wipes, and washes on your genitals isn't advised. Third, we have menstrual cups. These are flexible bell-shaped reusable cups that can be folded and inserted into the vagina, which then unfolds to create a seal and collect blood. There are also disposable cups like soft cups. This is unique from other methods as cups collect the fluids rather than absorbing them. Cups can be a nice option if you prefer tampons and want something reusable with lower TSS risk, but they can be even more difficult to get used to and can affect birth control methods like the ring and IUD. To use, wash your hands and the cup. Then you will fold the rim of the cup and insert it. Your cup will have an instruction guide with some of the best methods for doing this. Some people fold theirs in half, while some will fold one edge down and pinch the top into a point. This can be difficult and require some patience and sometimes water-based lubricant, but the cup size might also be too big for you. The most important part is making sure the cup unfolds and makes a seal to collect the fluids. Otherwise, it'll leak. Feel up along the rim for folds and twist the base to adjust and form a seal. You can wear it for up to 12 hours depending on your flow, which makes the cup incredibly convenient. To remove, pull the stem if you can't reach the base of the cup, then pinch the base to release the seal and gently wiggle the cup out while keeping it upright. Pour the contents out, then wash or wipe your cup off before using it again. If you're interested in the cup or tampons, but you're concerned about it getting lost inside of you, don't worry. They can only go as far up as your cervix, so it will still be there. Just don't insert it too far out of reach of the strings or stem for easy access. Fourth and finally, we have period underwear. This is special reusable underwear that is reinforced in the crotch with absorbent fabrics to soak up fluids. This is similar to reusable pads without the hassle of keeping it in place, as the underwear itself does the job. These come in different styles and absorbencies and can last around 8 to 12 hours before needing changed. When they need changed and cleaned, use cold water to rinse and machine wash on cold, following the instructions for the brand you bought. Products like period underwear and pads are good for slight bleeding and spotting days and can be great when combined with menstrual cups and tampons on heavy flow days. When swimming or working out, tampons and menstrual cups are your best options since they sit inside the body and shouldn't be affected by outside factors. Part 3. Coping tips. Depending on your needs and available resources, you can speak to your healthcare provider about medications to help alleviate periods and PMS symptoms. They might suggest pain relievers or medications geared towards period pain, like Midol or Pamprin. There are also methods of birth control that can help alleviate PMS and lighten or even stop periods altogether. If you're on hormone replacement therapy or have any concerns about hormonal birth control, it's important to bring this up with your provider. Planned Parenthood's website has a fantastic tool for learning about the different methods and finding the best one for you. There are also plenty of ways to alleviate cramps without medication. You can get stick-on heating pads that will adhere to your underwear so you can wear it all day. Heating pads and hot water bottles are great options while lounging at home. Something that usually feels great is taking a nice hot shower or soaking in a warm bath to get full body pain relief and relax. Most of all, stay well hydrated and rested. While on your period, it can be an option to be temporarily cautious with food that can dehydrate your body, cause headaches, and digestive issues, like things high in salt, sugar, caffeine, alcohol, and spice. Wow, That was a lot. I don't think I even covered it all. If you learned something new, let me know, and if there's something you'd like to learn about, I'd love to hear it. Well, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again soon.